So what exactly is final expense life insurance for seniors? And this one can be a little bit tricky because depending on what you're seeing on TV or what you're Googling, it's also known as burial insurance, funeral insurance, cremation insurance. All of these are just life insurance. But in the insurance industry, they call them final expense plans, which they're really just a small whole life if you're going with the right carrier, and we'll get into that here in just a second. Okay, so final expense plans are small whole life insurance plans designed to pay for cremation, funerals, medical bills, outstanding credit cards, for whatever final expenses you have during end of life. Now, don't confuse these with traditional whole life policies that go up to, $100,000, $1 million. These usually go from 1,000 up to 50,000. Most carriers stop at 40. There's only 2 or 3 companies that will go up to 50,000, but most carriers go from 1,000 to 40,000 depending on your health. Some carriers stop at 25,000, if your health isn't that great, and you get like a graded plan. And some companies max out at 35, so it just depends on the carrier. But if you do need more coverage, I have clients that stack policies. So you might go with Corebridge and get a $20,000 policy, and then you might go with Aetna and get a $30,000 policy. That way you have $50,000 altogether. But one of the reasons that these are so popular among seniors is these are whole life, so you don't ever have to worry about them expiring. The price should never change if you're getting a true whole life plan, not like a guaranteed issue or some weird modified plan. The price is never going to change on you, so if you are on a fixed income, you don't have to worry about anything fluctuating as you get older. Some carriers, some of these things you get in the mail and some of these too good to be true carriers that you see on TV, if you look very closely, they are modified or they are a renewable term, which means at age 85, the price is going to go up very high and it's going to keep going up every couple years or every 5 years. And most people can't afford that. Another thing is that these have no medical exams. So you do not have to worry about doing blood, urine, going to the doctor, or doing an EKG, nothing like that. These policies are very straightforward, very lenient underwriting. They're only going to ask you really a handful of questions. And so even if you've had different medications, 7, 8, 9, 10 medications over the last couple years, that's okay. We just have to make sure that we put you with the right carrier that accepts those medications. Even if you've had cancer or a heart attack or a stroke, usually over 24 months ago, you're day one, you're not on a graded plan. You're getting day one coverage with a preferred plan as long as it's over 24 months ago. So that's another nice thing about these. Usually the ages on a final expense plan are usually between 50 and 85. There's 1 or 2 carriers that go up to 89 years old. That's the gist of these companies. That's 50 to 85 is usually it. But there are 1 or 2 carriers that actually start at age 18. If for some reason that young adult just can't get approved anywhere else, you might be able to get a $15,000 to $25,000 final expense plan. 90% of the time, the approval rating on these is ridiculous. I've had people approved in 30 minutes. Literally, they want to do the application. We call the carrier. I submit the forms online. You stay on the phone with me. We call the carrier and they go through it with you as well, ask you yes or no's. And they'll tell you right then usually if you're approved or not. And if you're not, then they'll tell you, you're modified because of this reason or this medication popped up that maybe you forgot about. Some of them, you get a text for HIPAA and MIB compliance. That way the carrier can look into your medical background. That's very fast and convenient. Or you might have to do an email signature, but if you have none of that, then we'll have to go with a carrier that will just do a phone application with you. That way everything is recorded legally on their end. They have to have that on there if for any reason you don't have text or email. If for any reason you're not, things don't go smoothly or they got to look a little more into your medications and whatnot, there's still no medical exam, but maybe they'll get back to us within a day or 2 and let us know if you're approved. With 90% of carriers, you do not have to make a payment immediately. Most carriers will let you choose up to 30 days out. So your Social Security comes in, or, bills are kind of scattered throughout the month, and say it's the 10th, and you say, listen, I can't make a payment until like the 28th or anything like that. I don't want this to come out right away. You have the option to do that. They understand that, some people can't just throw another bill in there. Some things have to come in and out. So that's an option whenever you are looking at final expense. The nice thing is that they are very flexible when it comes to that first payment. So one of the main reasons why also someone would look at one of these is because things are getting expensive. Casket, funeral services, even cremation, with a small party or get together or anything like that. These things on average can cost $7,000 to $12,000, $15,000. And it seems like every 10 years, they just keep going up little by little. I don't know if the price of wood is getting more expensive, or if the price of land in these cemeteries is getting more expensive. They're charging more body rent. I don't know. But it is getting more expensive, and most people don't want that bill unexpectedly landing on a loved one. Not everyone has $10,000, $12,000 laying around on a 3-day notice. So that's one of the big reasons why these are getting so popular, with everything getting so expensive. Most people just want to make sure, hey, if I can afford $40, $50 a month, here's a $15,000, $20,000 policy, so that when I pass away, that money goes directly to my beneficiary, and they're not getting hounded by the, funeral director or, the city to, asking them, what are we doing with this body? Because those are the phone calls that your loved ones are going to get, unfortunately. So the last question you probably have is, who's the best carrier? Who has the best final expense life insurance plans for me? I don't want to get ripped off. I don't want my premiums going up. I want to make sure I'm with a good company that's not going to put me on a guaranteed issue 2-year wait period. Watch out for Colonial Penn and Lincoln Heritage on that one. But who is the best carrier? Here's the truth. There's a ton of great carriers, A+ rated companies that have been around since the 1800s. You've got Mutual of Omaha, Foresters, Aetna, Royal Neighbors, Sentinel, Transamerica. There's just Corbridge. There's tons of great carriers. At the end of the day, to get you the best rate, it's all about you. It's about your age, your height and weight, your tobacco status, which medications you're on, if you have any diseases or illnesses, or if you had a cancer 2 or 3 years ago. Each carrier's guidelines are going to be just a little bit different from the next. Some companies are going to be great with diabetes. Other companies you want to stay away from, because they will accept you, but you'll see when I show you quotes, they're going to charge you an extra $30 more, because that's not their strong suit. Their sweet spot might be heart conditions or heart medications. So don't worry about, am I getting the best carrier? It really all depends on you. There's a half a dozen to a dozen carriers that are top of the line, great financial ratings, good history. They're not going to mess with you or anything like that. But you do have to understand, and I'll show you, on my screen, I'll show you the quotes, that at the end of the day, it's really up to you. So if you do want to see some quotes, you want to see what the rates look like, you have some questions maybe about your health, or you even just want to review, maybe you have AARP or Colonial Penn, and you want to make sure, hey, am I on a modified plan? I don't understand this terminology. Please reach out. You will see links down below depending on where you're watching this. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you click more right below, whether you're on the computer or you're on your phone, I will have descriptions where you can book a call, or you can go straight to my website and look for quotes yourself. But if you do have any questions, please reach out. I'm here to help and make sure that you do have the right plan intact. That way we can protect what matters. So I hope this helped and answered any questions that you had. See you on the next one.